Alright, before I get into this review, it's time for a little story. So I have a friend in Norway named Conrad, and he has a YouTube channel called Commonwealth Realm, a channel I used to do videos for all the time. Earlier last month, he called me and said, hey, why don't we do a video on The Last of Us Part 1 versus Part 2? I have contacts in PlayStation Norway, we'll get a review code early, it'll be tons of fun. So naturally, a person like me, who loves getting video games early, goes, hell yeah, boy, let's do this! So I finally get the code 3 days before launch day, I beat the game in 2, and let me tell you, I loved it. By the time the end credits rolled, my jaw was on the floor. I was amazed at how great it was. Little did I know, people f***ing hate this game. And I mean violently hate it. To the point where if you say something positive about it, they will tear you to shreds. So you saw the title of this video. It is not bait. This is a legitimately positive review of The Last of Us Part 2. So if you're just gonna sit there and call me a fake game journalist hack who gets paid off by Sony, do me a favor. Go away. If you can't handle a different opinion, don't just go away. Go to therapy, because you have issues. It's a video game, not real life. Grow up. Move the f*** on. Okay, I'm done with that little rant. Now it's time for good vibes. Good vibes only. Here we go. Good vibes. And I love The Last of Us Part 2. It's not a perfect 10 out of 10 experience, but I honestly liked it more than Part 1, and I didn't think I would. Keep in mind, back when the first game came out, you could have considered me a Last of Us hater to an extent. I didn't hate the game, I quite liked it actually, but I couldn't understand why it was receiving all this praise. The quote, Citizen Kane of gaming comes to mind. However, as the years went by and as I played it a few more times, I grew to appreciate it way more. I used to be a hater boy, but I took that hater boy and said, see you later boy. With that, I was excited for Part 2 to see where the story could possibly go. Sure enough, they took it in a bold and risky direction that obviously not everyone was a fan of, but I am not one of those people. Even though the game's been out for a few days now, I'm still going to keep the story spoiler-free, mostly because of the embargo rules, and also because the less you know about this story, the better. Mostly because of the embargo rules. I don't want to get in trouble. So the game is set a few years after the events of Part 1, and you play as Ellie throughout most of it. She was already a capable fighter in Part 1, but in Part 2, she mad. Oh, she big mad. And it's for reasons that I'm contractually bound not to tell you, but you probably already know. I love playing as Ellie more than Joel because of one thing and one thing only. She has a knife. That's right, no more of this crafting shivs garbage. If I want a clicker taken out quietly, I can do that whenever I damn well please. Why couldn't Joel just get a knife? Honestly. But really, the gameplay in The Last of Us Part 2 is leagues ahead of the first games, and I've even heard some people who hate the game admit this. It's still slower compared to other third-person shooter types, but it brings back mechanics from Part 1 and refines them. For example, shooting just feels way more satisfying than in the first, and that's due to the customization options that make you a better shooter. You get supplements to enhance your skills, and you can use mechanical parts to make attachments for your weapons. It's very useful and makes for— oh my god! I will say though that the gameplay loop is slower than the first games, because the levels are way bigger and practically require you to explore them head to toe. Now you don't have to explore, but you probably won't get that shotgun or holster if you stick to the linear path. If you like exploration in video games, you might like The Last of Us Part 2. If you don't like stealth games though, this might not be for you. Stealth was a big focus in Part 1, so it's no surprise it returns in Part 2, but it is designed way better. You can crouch beneath grass, go prone, and even craft silencers for your pistol.
Double kill.
Since I'm bad at stealth though, I got caught more times than I could count, so I'm glad they also refined the combat. There's nothing better than getting knocked off of your feet only to return fire while laying on your back. It really makes you feel like John Wick or something. Other additions made to Part 2 are some new infected types. 2 to be exact, but I can only talk about one as the other is something you'll just have to see for yourself. These guys are called Shamblers.
Damn. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's sick.
These disgusting freaks of nature excrete acid if you get too close to them, and they explode upon death. They may seem like threats, but they're really not that hard to kill. To be honest, I'm kind of disappointed they only added 2 more infected types to this game. I guess they just didn't have time to add more? Oh well, it's a nitpick, but fortunately, the other infected types are way scarier this time. They show up in the creepiest of settings, and they're made twice as horrifying because of it. There are some serious Resident Evil moments in this game, and they made my skin crawl with terror. So that's the gameplay, and in short, I liked it a lot. I thought it was easily better than the first games. But let's get to the story. And like I said, I'm gonna keep it spoiler free, but if you want to post spoilers in the comments, go ahead. I'm sure most of you know the story already. That said, if all you did was read the story or watch a playthrough of it on YouTube, I cannot express enough how much you did not experience the story. You see, The Last of Us Part 2 is a video game, and video games are meant to be, you guessed it, played. You could probably get away with watching a playthrough of a game like Telltale's The Walking Dead or Detroit Become Human, but The Last of Us Part 2 uses the gameplay to help tell the story. If you're feeling a sense of dread and frustration because you just got ambushed by a big bald guy with a giant pickaxe, cool. That's what Ellie's feeling right now. And it's so much different when you actually have a controller in your hand instead of watching a YouTuber play it. Also, if you stopped playing at a certain major plot point because it made you mad, or if you just looked up the ending, I'm sorry. I really can't take your opinions on this game seriously. The only way to have a valid and informed opinion on this game is by playing the full 20 hours from beginning to end. And that's exactly what I did, and I loved every second of it. Well, maybe not every second. There are gameplay sections and parts of the story that I felt didn't need to be there, or at least could have been condensed. By the game's end, I forgave these parts, but that doesn't change the fact that they could have been executed better. I'm gonna try to keep it vague, but there's this one part where the story reaches a massive turning point, and then it suddenly switches to something else. It was annoying at first, and I understood why they did it, but I still wish they could have found a way to make it more seamless. Even then, the story is not a happy one. It's set during the apocalypse after all. What'd you expect? Adventure time? The story is not perfect, but when the end credits rolled, I was just shocked and amazed. And I sat there thinking, this is probably my favorite game of 2020 so far. It's just so bewildering to me how anyone can hate this story. And I think the only reason why they would hate it is because they didn't understand the point it was making. I know me saying that's gonna make a lot of you mad, but f it. I don't care. This game's story deals with such dark themes as revenge, betrayal, and what people do to survive. And in that sense, no character is safe, no character is pure of heart, and every character is evil in their own special way. And oh my god, just because a story doesn't do what you want it to, doesn't mean it's bad. Period. Get that through your thick skull. Okay, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this video, and people are probably gonna unsubscribe, but if they're really gonna unsubscribe because I have a different opinion than them, then that's their fault. It's pretty childish, really. Anyway, I loved The Last of Us Part 2, and I highly recommend you play it, emphasis on the term play, before you come to a conclusion on it. Normally I end these videos on some kind of a joke, but I honestly can't think of one. Oh wait, I got one. The Metacritic user score section. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video here on FerrisWheelPro. Special thanks goes to my Patreon supporters Justice to Free, Stephanie Ferris, and Smash JT. If you want to see more videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to know when I come out with another one. In the meantime, this has been FerrisWheelPro, and I'll see you on the next ride.